Welcome back. As you know, I am Eli, the computer guy, here for the Daily Blob, where we say, at least the Klan was honest about it. That's a horrible thing to say. That is truly an awful thing to say. It's also true. It's also true. You know the real problem with the Chinaman? I'm gonna tell you the real problem with the Chinaman is someday you're gonna sit down and you're gonna meet a Chinaman. And you might be sitting there, you might have a cup of coffee, you might have a beer, you might have some tea with that Chinaman, you might have a nice conversation, and you know what's gonna happen then and there, that is gonna be one of the worst things that will ever happen to you in your entire life. You're gonna look at that Chinaman, and in your mind, for just a second, for just a moment, you're gonna be like, wow, it's almost like they're human. It's almost like they're a person like me. And that is the true deceit and danger of the Chinaman. They make you think they're like you, which we all know is just not true. Oh, God. Oh, these skits are beginning to be painful. Skits are beginning to be painful. Did you hear this? Did you see this in the news feed? Did you see this in the news feed? Palantir, Meta, OpenAI execs. This is not a lie. I am not crafty enough to make this shit up. Execs to commission into Army Reserve to form Detachment 201. Because isn't that one of the things that we've heard about Chinaman technology? The big thing we got to be scared about with Chinaman is that they're all connected to their government. They're all connected to their military, and therefore we must fear them. And so now Palantir, Meta, OpenAI execs are commissioning directly into the Army. That's good. Microsoft was creating the HoloLens program for our warfighters to more easily, more efficiently kill brown people. Microsoft, again, with the Azure platform, they have, their data centers and their infrastructure that are supporting things going on in the world. We have Meta. So Meta, old Facebook, again, the most consumer of consumer companies, and they're teaming up with Anduril, again, in order to create an XR system for the warfighters, a $30 billion contract with the military to make our folks more efficient at, killing brown people. And yeah, that's what our technology companies are doing. But then we hear about the CCP, and the CCP is all embedded. See, but the difference between our government embedding in our technology companies and their government embedding in their technologies is, I don't know, fill in some blank. So anyways, we're just continuing down. We are continuing down the blacklisting of China, because that's what we do. That's what we do. If we can't compete, right? We're not getting more vocational programs for our high school students. We're not getting more community college or junior college programs for our high school graduates. We're not really building factories. We're not fixing zoning. Like, I think about that with zoning. Again, a real thing here in the United States. So when I had my business way back when, I bought a building, right? And it was a zoned light industrial. So I could have actually had a small little factory in that building if I had wanted to. But anyways, I could also do retail and computer repair there. And it was in downtown Baltimore. It was in actually pretty the center of downtown Baltimore. And the curious thing was, though, when I sold the building, I sold it to a developer that was going to turn it into basically 3 condo units. So they were taking something that was zoned as light industrial, which is kind of a pain in the ass to get something zoned in the modern world. They were taking it from light industrial to being condo units. And then you think about this with zoning in the United States for factories, for warehouses, for all of that kind of stuff. How much of the acreage that used to be zoned for some type of industrial capacity has now been turned into condos? Which is what it is. Look, sometimes you got to shift things around, right? Sometimes you had factories here, now you want to move factories over there. Here's the question, though. Was there a commiserate turning other areas into being zoned for factories and commercial when all of these areas were turned into condos? Or did we just turn these into condos and literally get rid of any place where you could put a factory? I really want to just reinforce this as an American citizen, as an entrepreneur in the United States. I was doing a little dog walk yesterday, and I was thinking about this on the dog walk. I honestly believe I could try to figure out how to create like a biomedical company before I could figure out how to do a real factory here in the United States. Like, think about this, right? If you want to create a software development shop, a software development firm, you probably can figure out how to do that. You want to create a tech startup company, right? Create the next dog dating app. You can probably figure that out. Like, there are all of these things that we have support mechanisms for. Here's the thing. What if you want to just create a company that made timers? What if you were sitting there and you were looking at your favorite YouTuber, Eli the computer guy, as he tried to figure out how to use this damn timer, and you're like, damn, that's the problem with the China man timers. You got too many buttons. They got so many buttons. Even an Eli the computer guy doesn't know how to use a timer anymore. So you're like, you know what? I'm gonna bring timer manufacturing back to the United States. Here's what I want you to think about. How? If you were a 19-year-old now and you wanted to bring artisanal timer production back to the United States, would you have any idea how? Would you know how to find somebody that would tell you how? Do you think you would be able to figure out the resources and everything that you need to create your American-made artisanal timer factory? And I bet you it would probably be shockingly hard because we just do not have those support mechanisms in the United States anymore. But we're America. We're Americans. And if there is one thing we just cannot abide by, is accepting our responsibility in a crappy situation. There's one thing I will not accept. It is responsibility for the world that I created. But anyways, so let's talk about smacking the hell out of China, man, because that is the one thing that we can still try to. I don't feel like we're doing it very well anymore. I feel like we used to be number one, smacking the crap out of China. I feel like we're falling behind the curve of even being able to smack the hell out of China. I feel like Chinaman's just like, You know, your grandpa used to be good at smacking the shit out of Chinamen, but like you, what is that? What is it? Is that a backhand? Were you trying to backhand me? Is that a backhand or is that a massage? Is that some weird ass like Swedish massage you're trying to do to me? I just don't understand. Oh, anyways. I don't know why you're here. I don't know why you're here. I don't know why I'm here. But we're all here. So let's just keep moving in a direction. Let's just keep moving in that vague direction. So, so going to CNBC, Taiwan Blacklists, China's Huawei and SMIC further aligning with U.S. trade policy. So basically, Taiwan, is its own country, its own democratic country that's 110% completely separated from mainland China and has absolutely no historical connection. Anyways, they are blacklisting Huawei and SMIC. So Huawei is the big just absolutely massive electronics manufacturer in China. They produce smartphones. They produce just a lot of stuff. They've started producing their own processors. They've started producing their own AI chips and that type of thing. And SMIC is basically a Chinese fab. So they're like the Chinese version of TSMC, basically actually producing the processors. And so this continues on the route that the United States has been pushing for a while, with the idea of if we can choke off the supplies of high-tech equipment to China, then we can prevent the Chinese people from advancing. And I would just like one of our politicians just to look at themselves in the mirror and make that statement. Just just ask themselves how they feel about that. But anyways, so from CNBC, Taiwan has added China's Huawei and SMIC to its trade blacklist in a move that further aligns it with U.S. trade policy and comes amid growing tensions with Beijing. Beijing just will not do what the old white men want them to do. So, ergo, we're gonna do something with our hand to you. Anyways, the two leading Chinese chip firms have been put on Taiwan's, quote, strategic high-tech commodities entity list, along with many of their international subsidiaries. Taiwan's current regulations require licenses from regulators before domestic firms can ship products to parties named on the entity list. In a statement on its website, Taiwan's International Trade Administration said that Huawei and SMIC were among the 601 new foreign entities blacklisted due to their involvement in arms proliferation activities and other national security concerns. And that's why I do bring up the whole thing with Palantir, Meta, and OpenAI executives literally being commissioned into the U.S. military, Meta with their XR program for the U.S. Army, whatever the hell Microsoft is doing, and the whole 9 yards. I'll just I'll point that out. But anyways, Huawei and SMIC are also on a U.S. trade blacklist and have been impacted by Washington's sweeping controls on advanced chips. Companies such as a contract chip maker, TSMC, already follow U.S. export restrictions. However, the addition of Huawei and SMIC to the Taiwan blacklist is likely aimed at reinforcement of this policy and a tightening of existing loopholes, Ray Wang, an independent semiconductor and tech analyst, told CNBC. So one of the things I've been talking about is that there's, a lot of ways to get around the rules. Again, you have a nation state that wants to, push their society forward. You have some old white folks halfway around the world trying to create rules to prevent a society from going forward. And, it seems like the second largest economy in the world would find ways around those rules. And so basically this is trying to tighten down the rules to keep products from going to China. But again, one of the points that I want to make out, living in a free country, United States, land of the free-ish, is every law that gets created, every rule that gets created, every regulation that gets created, it has other effects beyond what it's specifically trying to do, right? So if you need to get sign-off in order to, prevent certain technology from going to China, you also just need sign-offs in order for things to happen, right? There's rules, there's regulations, there's bureaucracy that bogs everything down. I think about this with a painting, actually. I can't move my camera. This painting right here. I love my painting right here. Some of my viewers find it creepy. Oh well, they suck. Anyways, that painting right there. It's actually from Venice. So there's I don't know if he's still there or not. I went to Venice a number of years ago, and I like art. I collect art. I found this one Venetian mask maker. Actually, I have a Venetian mask upstairs, and he's like an old school Venetian mask maker. Basically, he's been making masks all of his life, and he's in Venice to make those masks. Well, the curious thing was, so I bought a mask, so I bought a real Venetian mask, and I bought that painting, and then was going to have it shipped to the U.S. I had it shipped to the U.S. One of the curious things is that Italy is so concerned about their art leaving Italy, right? Priceless works of art leaving Italy, right? They've come into all these regulations on whenever art leaves Italy. So literally, I purchased this art from this guy. He had to fill out all his forms, not just not normal customs form, but like art customs form. Literally, this crap had to get approved for him to be able to send it to me in the United States. Wound up taking a couple of months just to get the art that I bought from him that he created in his own workshop that was all of about 20 days old. In order for him to be able to send that to me in the United States, went through all of this bureaucracy, right? In order to protect the art of Italy, we have to come up with all these systems to make it an utter pain in the ass for any normal person to buy Italian art. Do you think this might cause some issues for the artists who are trying to run businesses? He was funny because he was old school, and he just started going off about Chinese masks. So apparently, when he makes a mask, it takes a while to make a mask because it's a real mask. So a lot of people are now just importing these Chinese masks. Well, here's the thing. You can go and you can buy one of these piece of crap Chinese masks. So his mask costs me like $200 because it's like real. Anyways, you can go and buy a Chinese mask. I don't know why you would. Why you go to Venice to buy a Chinese mask, but whatever. You can buy a Chinese mask for $50. So not only is it going to be $150 cheaper, but you can just take that Chinese mask and you can ship it where the hell you want to ship it because nobody gives a damn about Chinese masks. So think about that from a business standpoint. So his product is 4x the expense of these other products that are being sold, and there's this whole bureaucratic hurdle just for him to sell what he's doing to a foreigner. What do you think that does to businesses like his? And let me tell you, he spent a half an hour being very explicit about what that kind of crap did to businesses like his, and that he was going to be very happy to retire in a couple of years and be done with all this horse crap. So anyways, that's one of those things to be thinking about. Like when you think about these rules and regulations, there's more to them than just what the bureaucrats think there is. Let's see here. Go on. TSMC had been embroiled in controversy in October last year when semiconductor research firm Tech Insights found a TSMC-made chip in a Huawei AI training card. Following the discovery, the U.S. Commerce Department ordered TSMC to halt Chinese clients' access to two chips used for AI services. According to a report from Reuters, TSMC could also reportedly face a $1 billion penalty to settle a U.S. investigation into the matter. So TSMC, a Taiwanese company, right, was selling to China, and they're now looking at a $1 billion penalty. And this is where I keep bringing up the whole question as a CTO, as a CEO, when you look at the risk tolerance for your organization, can your company support the risk of dealing with the United States? Huawei is believed to have acquired several million GPU dies from TSMC for its AI chips by using previous loopholes before they were discovered, according to Paul Trolio, partner and senior vice president for China at advisory firm blah, blah, blah. So anyways, it now looks like Taiwan is trying to crack down on Huawei and SMIC, which basically means China will find another way to do it. Oh, you're going to ban Huawei and SMIC? Oh, great. I have this company over here called SMIC. Yeah, SMIC. SMIC is not going to buy another thing from Taiwan. SMIC will, though. Anyways, so we'll see how this goes. I'm just reporting on this. I'm just having a conversation about this, just to show you how this ball keeps moving forward, and how idiotic it continues to be. China keeps pushing forward. We keep trying to crack down on them. They find loopholes, ways around, and around and around and around it goes until they just simply no longer need us. Again, SMIC is a fab. It is nowhere near, to be clear, it is nowhere as good as TSMC is, but TSMC wasn't TSMC, back 15 years ago. It's amazing. I'm reading this one book right now. Talking about how China, quote unquote, captured Apple, which is its own idiocy. Pretty decent book. I forget what the name of it is. Anyways, finishing it up right now. The curious thing is when you look at all these electronic companies, literally how quickly they've progressed, right? iPhone came out in 2007. So in less than 20 years, in 18 years, Chinese manufacturing, electronic manufacturing went from where it was to where it currently is in 18 years. That quick. Right? And so it's interesting to think about where will they be in another 10. The idea, there's this fundamental idea, right? We as a superior people, obviously we are a superior people. The only reason that they have been able to advance is because they're stealing our knowledge. And so all we have to do is we just simply have to find a way to prevent them from stealing our knowledge that is ours. Only we can have this knowledge. And if we can prevent that stealing, then their civilization will just stop where it is. And so we see more and more of these rules and these regulations and these blacklisting and these fining of our own companies, right? Fining TSMC for $1 billion. And my question is just at the end of the day, is it going to do a damn thing other than destroy our own technology companies? That would be my question. So what do you think about this? What do you think about Taiwan blacklisting Huawei and SMIC? What do you think about Taiwan blacklisting them at the exact same time Meta execs, Palantir execs, and OpenAI execs are literally being commissioned into the U.S. military? What do you think about this modern world? Anyways, put your thoughts down below. And with that, see y'all later.